is Ellie. I teach sewing and crafts at the library, and today I have another scrap busting sewing project for you. We're going to be making an applique tea towel. So this is a really great way to use up your scraps, but we'll also be playing around with all the different stitches that you find on your sewing machine. So let's get started. For this project, you will need a tea towel, some scrap fabric, sewing pins, fabric scissors, something to write with, some scrap paper, and a sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, you could also apply your appliques through hand embroidery. So if you don't already have a tea towel, it's pretty easy to make one. All you need is some plain cotton or linen fabric. Most tea towels are about 19 inches by 24 inches, so I cut my fabric 20 inches by 25. And then I folded each side in twice, a 1/4 inch, and just stitched all the way around. Next, you'll want to decide what shape to make your appliques. Keep in mind that you can do curved or round shapes, but they will be more challenging to sew around than straight lines. So I decided to keep it simple and do a triangle. So I drew this on a piece of paper, cut it out, and used this as my template for the rest of my fabric. I found some scraps that I liked how they looked together, so I cut them out and I've pinned them down where I want them. I'm now at my sewing machine, but before we can start sewing, we need to decide which stitch we're going to use to apply our appliques. I'm using a Brother machine, the same kind that we use at the library, and as you can see, it has a lot of stitch options. A lot of these are going to be probably too fancy to use, but I think we can still find something that looks interesting. Even if your machine only has a couple stitches, you probably still have a couple options of things that you can use. So I cut out an extra triangle to use as my practice piece. And I started with number 4 on the machine. It's just a basic zigzag, which worked. I liked it okay. I tried a couple different ones. This stitch is number 6. I don't think it's gonna really work. I tried kind of a wider stitch. This one is 17. Also didn't quite like how that one looked. I ended up deciding with number 11. So I started on this side. I was able to turn the corner okay, but then keep in mind that you can also change the stitch width and the stitch length. So I decided to change the stitch length from 2.5 to 3, and that's what we see here. I like the spacing better on this side than here. So I've got my fabric lined up under my foot, so I'm ready to start sewing. Don't be afraid to take your time here, especially when you're going around curves or corners. That's definitely going to be the trickiest part. And if you mess up, no big deal. You can always use your stitch ripper to take out your mistake and start again. So I'm going to continue like this, and then I'll check back in once I have my first triangle sewed down. So here is my first triangle appliqued to my tea towel. So you can see the corners aren't quite perfect. It's not really going to be noticeable from far away. But I'm going to try and perfect my method. I'm kind of learning as I go too. So I think for my next triangle, I'm going to sew down one side, completely take it out of the machine, turn the fabric, and then sew down this side so I don't have to worry about turning the corner. So we'll see how that goes. I just finished doing 2 sides of this triangle with that new method, and I think I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of my appliques. These acute angles are a challenge to go around, and they might not be in everyone's pattern, but I just wanted to show you guys my process of trial and error for figuring out how these new stitches work and how to get around kind of non-conventional shapes. Here's my completed tea towel. This was so much fun to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it too, and I'll see you next time. Bye!